Hello, everyone, and welcome back to AEC Today Reports. We've been off for a few weeks with camp meeting and taking a little break, but we are back Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. And speaking of camp meeting, we want to thank all of you, our faithful viewers, for being engaged in the whole 9-day process. We thank you for dialoguing with us in the chat, for sharing the streams on a daily basis. It was truly a blessing for all involved. We thank you for your support. It could not have been possible without you. So we want to offer our thanks to you. We also have a survey that we want you to fill out regarding your virtual camp meeting experience, and that will be on our website for you to complete. It really helps us know what we need to do going forward. And many of you saw that it's our goal one day to launch AEC TV. So we need to know what it is that you like and what programs you want to see more of. Anyway, we're here with our episode tonight, and we're really excited because we have 3 pastors that we're talking to. You know, it's been our goal during this COVID time to kind of highlight what's happening out there with all of our churches. We're not able to congregate in our buildings, but ministry is still going forward, and the Lord is blessing in so many different ways. And so in this episode, we're going to talk to 3 of our pastors and find out how they're dealing with this pandemic in their individual congregations, but also some of the things, the good news and the community service and the outreach that's still happening. So stay tuned for all of that coming up after this break.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
All right, everyone, we're back, and we're so glad that you stayed tuned into AEC Today Reports. As you know, it's been our pleasure to cover so many of our churches who are being actively engaged in their community during this pandemic. And we have another special guest from one of our churches in the Baltimore area, and that's none other than Pastor Uzooma Erondu from the Maranatha Adventist Fellowship. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. And you?
Pretty good. Holding up. The Lord is blessing.
Amen.
We know that this pandemic has definitely shifted the way we do things. How are you and your congregation weathering this new normal of how you worship on a daily basis?
Actually, I would say that the pandemic has rather brought us more together, and I have seen a greater turnout in worship, and God made us to join the World 100 Days of Prayer experience, and my members can't even wait for the night to go by. I see that on the Zoom virtual meeting we held. The time was from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sometime by 6:40, 6:45, I have about 20 fellows on the line.
Wow, they're anxious.
And I truly believe that God was really in charge. Now, before I go into the expense of the pandemic, I want to reveal something that God gave me December 15, 2019.
Okay.
In my personal devotion, I came across the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 15. The more or less talked about how God walked with him. And it took me to that verse 15. And what captivated my attention was where it said, God shall transform our valley of trouble into a gateway of hope. I relaxed. I felt, that would be the theme for the year 2020. Not knowing that the whole world at large would be in a valley, struggling to get into a gateway of hope.
Wow.
And they're called Pastor James Black Senior. I said, Pastor, you remember I was supposed to hold your first weekend prayer service? Are you still ready? I said, yes. He said, what's your theme? And I told him, he said, I need you to send it to me where you wrote it down. And quickly, I just took a snap of it and forwarded it to him. And he ran with it. And actually, our book is in making, in the title, Transforming the Valley of Trouble into a Gateway of Hope for the local church. And not knowing that the world will really go through that. So coming back to how we've been weathering through this pandemic, so I earlier said we've been knitted together. People are excited. They want to participate. And every evening, apart on a Saturday worship, we had not less than 90 to 100 people on the line. And actually, this pandemic made us to go international. We have people calling from Japan, Australia, many from Nigeria, from Sweden. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I got my member saying, Pastor, I think we need to continue this even after the pandemic. And on Saturdays, I had guest speakers from different parts of the world. And when one preached, colleagues of the individual will forward me an email and said, Pastor, can I be included also? I said, why not? So one of the things that it really helped me to achieve is to relax, reflect, and allow others to feed me as a shepherd to be able to feed back to the flock. So I will say that through this pandemic, God used it. We went through the 100 days of prayer. And the ending of the 100 days was full of testimonies, singing. And the Saturday of July the 4th, we had well over 270 people on the line between the hours of 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. People don't want to leave. And I saw the handiwork of God over his church, Maranatha, fellowship in Bowie. So that little thing called virus produced bigger things called reconnection with God, restoration with God, and a hope for the future as He continues to transform our valleys of trouble into a gateway of hope. And we remember that our mission statement says we are called to changing our world one person at a time. And that is what Maranatha has been doing. And since the end of the 100 days, we are starting this week, Wednesday, to take care of the book, The Great Controversy. So as to find within the book something that God has in there for us and for the world at large. That's the much I can talk about how we've been weathering through this. As the children's department having their own, the youth also having their own, and in the evening, everyone come together because it brought families together and made us to now see that I have more choristers in homes that we're not willing to come out to sing in the church.
I love it. They're more comfortable in their own home singing.
What really got my attention was based on the geographical differences of time. Could you imagine staying up at 12 midnight in their own time to join us around 7 p.m. in our own time? Some were 14 hours ahead of us, but they still tuned in. That tells me that God is still in charge when it seems impossible. And whatever valley we might find ourselves in, He will always surely get us to the gateway of hope. Thank you.
All right, amen. I love that. That's a great perspective to have. You know, so many are focusing on what the virus has done to keep us apart, but your church is using it to bring you all closer together and even go international. So that's a blessing. That's a real big blessing. So as I mentioned when I introduced you, Maranatha, and this is no surprise for those who are familiar with Maranatha Fellowship, you know that they are a community-loving church. And so during this pandemic, they're continuing to serve the community. So, Pastor Erondu, tell us some of the ways that you all are still giving back and participating in community service efforts during this time.
Thank you so much for that question. One of the things that I enjoy about the church is that the members have come to realize that we're a church, we're a community that really doesn't need us. But notwithstanding, we have identified ourselves as a community church in a community for the community. That means that no matter the challenges we have, we still stay focused to reach out to the community. When the Touch 10,000 program took effect, we embarked on it. And since the beginning of this Touch 10,000, we as a church have focused on the Cherry Hill, Brooklyn area of Baltimore. And we've been doing that every other Sunday. So even in the midst of the pandemic, we haven't stopped reaching out because we know that the community needs the church at this current time. Some of the example is they are hungry. Who will feed them? They are sick. Who will visit them? They are lonely. Who will call them? They have no one to care about them. Who will just give them something in place of the word? I see that we hold too much on the word. I'm not against it, but I believe that before the word will have a meaning in the life of someone trying to find Christ, their needs have to be met. Therefore, we embarked on that. So I want to thank the church, the Adventist Community Services of the local church and the Alleghenies Conference and the North American Division in particular. When I reached out to them through Miss Gail, I got a check in the mail of $2,000 that says there's an extension of help. I was like, wow. Do anybody know us? That we should be acknowledged. And when I met Pastor Allen Johnson, when they had a meeting at Miracle City during the regular workers training, I spoke with him. He said, no, Pastor, just let me know what you're doing. If you need more, come to us. That encouraged me so much. And I went back to it. I said, hey, people care about us. So what do we do about the community? There was a time the Steps to Christ project was embarked on from the youth department of the Alleghenies Conference. I would say that for the Baltimore area, I think Maranatha took most of the cartons because we were giving, going out giving. On the street, we store by the roadside, we were giving. In schools, we were giving. At malls, we were giving. I think we gave not less than 10 cartons of that whole project. And as I'm talking, they need more. So we said, okay, we need to feed people. So we got an alliance with the police department, Baltimore City. They said, oh, come. We'll work with you. And surprisingly to me, on our first time of giving out food distribution, Allen Johnson, the power director for the North American Division, surprised us, the church, with tons of fresh produce that we picked up to distribute to the community. And when I went to pick it up, they said, you need to pay. I said, I called Allen and said, what's going on here? I don't have more money. So, oh, no, Pastor. I said, what? My members were waiting, calling, Pastor, where you people are coming? And here I am, with voice of 1,600. And when Allen called, he said, no, Pastor, it's paid for. Just to appreciate.
Amen.
It gave me more joy to go on. So, in a nutshell, we have embarked in the Cherry Hill, Brooklyn area of Baltimore. Our goal is helping to change the lifestyle of the individuals living in that community to a better future. So instead of them smoking cigarettes, smoking or the drugs, we place in their hand food to nourish their body. And as we place food in their hands, we also place the message magazine, Steps to Christ, and the small pamphlets that the local church use. That's these 3 ways with which we've been reaching out to the community. And from time to time, I'll put my hand over a shadow of people and I'll pray with them. Oh, Pastor, thank you so much. Oh, wait a minute. You must be a pastor. I don't talk about myself as a pastor when I go out there because I want to identify with fellow human beings. So after prayer, they will say, you must be a pastor. Then some of my members will say, yes, he's the pastor of the church.
Oh, yes. You can't hide it.
The humility pays more than attention focus. So we must share this. And the reason why we're still going out there, even in the pandemic, I need to underline that, is that Jesus never stopped letting the world know about the Father, even when he was rejected by those he came for. So Maranatha is on the move to go out there every other Sunday. And if anyone on his conference, office, or anywhere you want to partner with us, please feel free to call 410-258-2156, or you can send us an email at mathmediaministry.com. We'll be so delighted in partnering with you as we continue to transform the valley of trouble into a gateway, because we've been called to changing our world one person at a time. Thank you.
All right. I love it. So I know you said it's every Sunday or every other
Every
Sunday?
other Sunday.
Every other Sunday. And about how many bags are you distributing each time?
The list we distribute is 100 bags. But when we went out the previous week, that was last Sunday in June, we realized that people needed more. So we left the area where we have been going every time because we had a little hitch. The environment, people who owns the environment we're using said they need us to move away from there. So I told my members, nothing shall deter us. We need to find another area. So yesterday, being Sunday, July the 12th, we went to the North Avenue, Pennsylvania Street of Baltimore. And the 220 bags we were carrying finished in less than 45 minutes.
Wow.
People were saying we need more. Let's remember that that's a drug-infested area, and they love bananas to help them with their methadone and their drugs. So we are delighted in doing that. So that's the quantity we give. The list is 100 bags that we give every other Sunday. Yes.
That's awesome. So the response, as you kind of alluded to, has been very favorable in the community. And I see that you guys are mobile. You're able to kind of, if you need to move, you're able to load things in the van and keep it moving, and finding other areas that need this help as well.
Yes, thank God for the church van. It was donated by a member. When I told that individual, you're going to give us a transportation means. And within 3 weeks, the young man came to me and gave me a van key and said, Pastor, you said I'm to provide the church a van, and here is the van.
Wow, look at that.
It had only 20 miles on the van. Today it has about 52,000 miles. So he is given 52,000 miles vehicle. So I believe in what you need. Ask for it. Don't be ashamed to ask. And God will give it. So it now gives us the leverage. If the driver was also away from here, we can go to another place. Remember, Jesus was asked not to come to this area, but he goes. Like the lesson last week, Peter and Paul and John were said, no, we don't need you here. You go over there. But the truth is the truth. We need to do what? We want to share what God has given to us. So I don't use the word less privileged. I see everyone the same because we are the same in the eyes of God. So
Amen.
that's yes.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Well, we just, we applaud you as leadership at your church, but we also applaud your members who are doing their part to make sure this continues, even during this time, who are dedicated to, making adjustments when necessary to make sure the communities who need it get it. And thank you so much. We appreciate all that you're doing in Baltimore and internationally, even with your services and keeping everyone engaged and connected during such a difficult time in our world. I love the fact that your theme, that's something when it's God inspired, even later you find out where it really came from, and it's so appropriate for this time going through this pandemic. So God
Yes,
continue to bless
yes,
you
I
guys.
want to appreciate Elder Mrs. Oluchi Okomado and the sister Dr. Mrs. Ezina Esecher and Mr. Dapo Oyelana, one of my elders, and his wife, and Mrs. Onyinye Erondu for having been the great support in making sure that this ministry is on fire. And many others who come out to join us from time to time, because I believe that it's worth appreciating people while they are alive. But when there's no death, we come.
That's right.
Yeah, and also to the Alligators Conference, we cannot forget, because without us being a church within them, no one would have known who we are. It's an opportunity to be a part of this conference that believes in caring for people, no matter where you come from, no matter what culture you are, whatever what language you speak. We see us in that ethne that we carry through, because we are all one under God. So I just want to say, to God be the glory, and to the Alleghenies Conference, and also to the North American Division for being there for us, and to the Communication Department. Without you, no one will know about us. So, Sister Letitia Hewitt, we want to say thank you for thinking about us, remembering us, and including us in your program. Thank you so much.
No problem. Our pleasure. We always love what Maranatha is doing. You guys are a very active church and very welcoming church. Fortunate that I had the privilege of coming there a few times, but I'm glad to see that same spirit is being carried virtually so others can appreciate it as well. Thanks again for sharing today, and keep up the good work. And we want to encourage the rest of your members to do the same. Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right. And please stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back right after this break.
It's all of our responsibility to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. You can still use your outdoor spaces like yards and decks. It's also okay to go for a walk or exercise outside. Wear a cloth face covering, stay at least 6 feet away from other people, try not to touch any surfaces, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
All right, everyone, thanks for sticking with us after the break. We are back, and we have another special guest with us. We want to invite another one of our pastors, and this is Pastor Keenan Tyler. How are you doing, Pastor Tyler?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good. No complaints here. And for those who don't know, please tell us which churches you pastor.
All right, well, I have the pleasure to serve as the pastor of Cedars of Lebanon and Coastal Shores, Seventh-day Adventist Church located in Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, Virginia.
All right, awesome. Now, we've been checking in with all of our pastors. How are you and your congregation adjusting to this whole pandemic, and how you're worshiping differently now?
Well, it's definitely an adjustment. Some are struggling. Some want to be in the building. They can't wait to be in the building. And some are getting too comfortable being at home. But it's definitely an adjustment. But we're doing okay. We're doing all right.
Okay, great. And so we're talking today because obviously, we keep saying we have dual pandemics going on right now. We have this COVID thing, and then we have this horrible disease of racism that seems to be I don't want to say creeping up again. We know that it's always been there, but right now it's on the forefront. More people are talking about it. People seem to be more open to the dialogue, and so you decided to kind of tackle a little bit about race relations by starting kind of a new series yourself. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and to increase conversation about racism in America?
Okay, great. Well, I was talking to a former member of mine who moved out the area, and we just talking about issues with race and different ideas, sharing different ideas for the community. Some things we can do, how can we be involved? And we both, at the end of the conversation, this was probably after about 15 to 20 minutes, we said, this is good, but we're just talking to ourselves. We need to we need to bring people of different races. We need to talk to our white counterparts and see what's their thoughts. And I told him, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. And I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna start interviewing white pastors and see their perspective. And then I talked to some of our people here locally, and then somebody gave me the name Janine Farrell. She said, "Hey, let's call it Colored Conversations." So that's what started. That's what started the topic, and it's called Colored Conversations. And basically, twice a week, sometimes more than that, we have these hard conversations about race, and it's a safe space. Black people, white people, just hearing different perspectives. Because if we only talk to ourselves, what good is that going to do? So that's pretty much that's the premise of it.
Okay. So, how long have you been doing it now? A few weeks?
We've been doing it almost a month now.
Oh, month. Okay.
We
So,
took a break off from camp meeting.
okay. Well, we appreciate that. Now, what are tell us a little bit about some of the guests that you've interviewed so far and some of the dialogue that you all have been discussing. What has come out of some of those conversations you've had thus far?
Oh wow! So we interviewed a few Caucasian pastors, listening to hearing their side, how they was raised, how are they tackling systemic racism? Are they even talking about these issues? Do they even see systemic racism in our society and our church, amongst the conferences? And so just seeing their perspective and what are they doing to address it in their context, and what can we do about it together? I also spoke to the chief of police down here in Chesapeake, talked about police brutality and different things, police reform. Also spoke to the mayor of Virginia Beach. It was an election year, so he's more than willing to talk. Spoke to him about police brutality, different issues here locally. We also spoke to someone, Patrick Graham, Pastor Patrick Graham, and we talked about the if is there an issue between Caribbean Americans and African Americans. So we talked about that. So we try to have these discussions that nobody wanna talk about. So we did it, and people can ask questions, and it's been great so far.
Okay, now you just told us in the beginning you have two churches that you're pastoring.
Yes.
What made you want to take this on as an additional? I guess I call it a ministry or additional. What did you see in it in terms of the importance?
Well, these are conversations that everybody is talking about. So it's something, it's on the forefront of everybody's mind, especially being in a pandemic where everybody, their attention, everybody antennas are up, even more so. And so when that George Floyd incident happened, it was just like spewing out, like people needed a chance to, all right, let's talk. And so this is the space that we wanted to create for it.
I love it. That's great. Now, remind us again. You said it's twice a week, and where can people watch or engage?
Right. So it's colored conversations. It's twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. Every now and then we'll throw a special Wednesday thing in there, but it's every Tuesday and Thursday. Just go to my Facebook page or YouTube, Keenan Tyler. Just go to Keenan Tyler Facebook page, like my page, or go to YouTube, like it, subscribe, and also Allegheny East. They're gonna pick it up as well.
Yeah, that's the plan. We have to be able to do that.
Yeah. So today, for instance, today Tuesday, we're going to replay an interview of one of our pastors that we interview, a white pastor from Colorado, and it was very insightful. This hear how he grew up. So you definitely want to see it. Don't miss it.
Awesome, awesome. We just want to applaud you. I mean, like you said, it's something that we're talking about in our various circles, but not too many of us are putting out on a platform where others can view and really hear different opinions and ask questions and keep the dialogue going. So we thank you for your insight and starting this series. And I know you have some more coming up. You have your whole August or the next few weeks mapped out. What are some other topics we can expect to cover on Color Conversations or guests?
Right. So we're interviewing the president of the NAACP chapter locally in Virginia Beach. We're going to interview Dr. Sumter. She's in charge of African American Studies at Old Dominion University. We're interviewing Pastor Armando. He is the youth director, assistant youth director for the North American Division. This upcoming Thursday, we're interviewing a guy by the name of Mike Walker. He runs the fifth largest real estate business company in Manhattan, New York. And so we just have a bunch of people we're going to interview before this month is over. And then we're going to also interview what I'm excited about. A young man was murdered in Georgia some years ago, and his body was wrapped up in a carpet in a gymnasium in Laurels County in Georgia. And so we reached out to the mom because his case, they threw out the case, and it's been a big cover up down there. And so his mom is looking for justice. So we're going to talk to the mom, just hear her side, help her get her story out there. And that's coming up in August.
Wow, that's quite a lineup there. You really been putting in the work. This is
we're trying. We also got some senators. We got Congresswoman Elaine Loria from Virginia. We're going to interview her soon. And the person who she's running against, Scott Taylor, that's coming up as well.
Okay, so you're dealing with politics, all of it. I mean, all of it kind of comes together under one umbrella. So it's great that you're dealing with all of it. And just so everyone can remember, if you want to tune in, go on Facebook or YouTube and follow Keenan Tyler. It's spelled right there for you so you can spell it properly. And follow this series. There's going to be some great topics. We're also going to share it on our Facebook page as well because we appreciate this kind of dialogue happening. People are always saying, what's Allegheny East doing about this and doing? And I always say there's so many, Allegheny East is not just the conference building. It's people like you, pastors like you, who are taking on this challenge of, dealing with racism and politics and all of those other things head on. And we appreciate you being a part of that and representing us so well.
No problem. My pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. Any final words before we let you go?
Yes, just want to tell everybody, if you're listening, just action. Everybody can do something. Everybody can do something. And so please get involved. Get involved. We don't want to. We want to continue the narrative that we're just in some place just praying, Adventist just praying, but we want to change that, and we want to be involved. So make sure you get involved.
I love it. Excellent advice. And thank you for taking your own charge. All right. We appreciate you joining us. And for all our viewing audience out there, we'll be right back after this break.
The Bible tells us in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land." If there were ever a time that we needed to come together in prayer, it is now. Therefore, our president, Elder Henry Fordham, is calling on you to join us as we band together in prayer. Pray corporately with us every day at 12 p.m. and in addition, 3 times a day. We believe that God will honor the faithfulness of His people as we band together in prayer. Please pray with us and watch God move.
All right, everyone, we're back on AEC Today Reports, and we're happy to have with us another special guest. Joining us right now is another one of our pastors, Pastor Gary Wimbish. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Awesome. Feeling pretty good today. And for those who don't know, tell us, which church do you pastor within Allegheny East?
I pastor the Columbia Community Center of Seventh-day Adventist in Columbia, Maryland.
All right, yes. And how is your church doing? We've past 3 months now into being out of our church buildings. How has your congregation adjusted to this new normal for us?
Sure, like most of our sister churches, we are adjusting to this new normal. The last time we were together as a congregation was the first Sabbath of March. So we have not had the opportunity to come together as a community of believers. However, with Zoom and conference calls and GoToMeeting, we have been able to stay united. We have instituted what we call United in Prayer. And this is on a daily basis at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. We have our members calling in on our prayer line. Our elders and ministry leaders facilitate this. And then, of course, on Sabbath mornings, we start at 9:45 for the prayer line. So this has just been one of the many tools that we have used to hold us together. Our church growth groups have continued to function. They have their own separate Zoom conference meetings on the first Sabbath of each month. Our prayer meeting, everything is done online. And then we started, maybe a month ago, started a food giveaway, food distribution program that we do in collaboration with the Emmanuel Brinklow Church, where we're servicing families here in Columbia, as well as in Tacoma Park, Maryland. So this gives our members an opportunity, the volunteers, to come together. So those are some of the things that we're doing. And of course, we're calling our members on a systematic and a rotating basis, especially those who are sick or who are in nursing homes or assisted living homes, so that we can kind of hold everything together. But we're looking forward to the time we'll have our very first service outdoors in the parking lot.
All right. Well, it's good to see that your members are still active and engaged with one another and the community even during this time. That's the blessing.
And then, of course, on Sabbath, we're doing the virtual church. So it's Sabbath services each Sabbath.
Okay, sounds great. Now, the ironic part about this good news that I'm going to ask you to share is that, we just talked about the fact that we're worshiping virtually now, and our congregations have not had the opportunity to kind of be in the same building or worship experience. But you have some news that your church recently experienced. Would you share that good news with our viewers?
No, absolutely. In fact, it is ironic when we are not able to congregate and come together and worship. We have been blessed to purchase our own building. We went to closing on June the 18th. We finalized it, and we are praising the Lord. We have been able to secure a 17,000 square foot facility in Columbia. It has been a major undertaking. This has been the goal and the dream of the members from the church's inception in 1996. And of course, we started working on this in earnest in January 2012, which was when I had the good fortune of becoming the pastor here. So we've gone through a number of journeys, trials, and starts and stops, but God blessed us as of June the 18th, and we are looking forward to being able to worship, and we've already started doing ministry in the facility.
That is awesome, and I just want to offer you all congratulations. I know a little bit about the history of you all getting to this place, and you know, although you got here and you still have to wait to kind of bring everybody together, it's good to know that now, when the time does come, you have a wonderful 17,000 square foot. You said.
Yes, it's 17,000 square feet. It's one contiguous building that is comprised of three separate sections. On one end of the building, which is about 4,200 square feet, there is a long-term tenant who has been in this building for at least leasing it for at least 20 years. And their lease will end in December of 2021. Then the other two main sections of the building, comprising of 13,000 square feet, is where we will house our sanctuary, our fellowship hall, the kitchen, and other ministry areas and outreach ministries to the community. So the church is in a wonderful position where we have income producing property rather, and then based upon the objectives and the ministry plans of the church, if they'll decide whether they will retain that section of the building for future income or incorporate it into the overall ministry of the church. But there's a lot that can be done. We have some vibrant ministry objectives and things that we have been doing all along, but now we'll be able to build on that, and of course, doing it from our own home. My father used to say, "Blessed is the child that hath his own," and this is truly,
Absolutely.
truly true now.
That's awesome. I mean, when you have the word community in the name of your church, it kind of puts you put you on the spot that you have to somehow be engaged in your community, and that seems like what this building will allow you to do. Whether it's being able to help other organizations or entities have a safe space, as well as giving you all the opportunity to provide more ministry opportunities for community. So this is awesome. This is awesome. So if anyone's anxious to get back to the building, although we know we're being cautious and safe right now, we know it's your membership, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. We have already had the major section of the building already deep cleaned based on COVID-19 standards. So, therefore, the food giveaway program ministry that we're doing now, for example, we already have it mapped out, lined out, so that our volunteers who are outfitted in their full PPEs are able to do the assembly of putting the food together, the bags and the boxes. And of course, the recipients don't even have to get out of their cars. Of course, they just
Awesome.
drive through the parking lot and receive these resources, as well as a word of encouragement, a word of prayer, if they are desirous of that. And it really does give us an opportunity to fulfill one of our objectives, and that is living God's love on a daily basis in altruistic ministry, as well as more intentional fishing expeditions for souls. We're able
Amen.
to do both, and so we are just so grateful and thankful to the Lord. I might add, especially to our sister congregations and fellow pastors who are in building programs, and you've been working at this for a while. We got to the day of closing at least two out of three times. We had three previous attempts, and it did not work out. But we know and we have experienced that God's timing always is best. When we pray that the Lord will open doors that no man can shut or close, and that God will close doors that no man can open, trust me, from my own experience and our church's
Amen.
experience, God is good. He is faithful to his word. And if we just hold on and believe and continue to trust him in this journey and in this walk, he blesses us, and he will bless you every single time.
Amen. Thanks for that encouraging word. I think that can apply in so many facets of our lives. Sometimes it's definitely worth the wait, and the Lord allows you to see what He really had in store for you. So This is so exciting. We're so happy for you, Pastor Wimbish, and your congregation. We're glad to see that you're still, as soon as you got the property, you put it to use to serve your community. And we're really grateful for what God has done for you all.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I'm grateful for a loving and caring church, and also for a very supportive conference and administration and the executive committee. And of course, appreciative of Columbia Union Revolving Fund. Amen.
Amen for that. Of course, of course. Give shout outs where they're due. Thank you.
That's
Thank you
right.
so much
That's right.
for sharing the
Well,
good
thank you.
news. During this time, it's always good to hear some of the blessings that are happening in our churches, and this is definitely one of them. So we wish you all the best as you move forward and continue to serve your community. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you again, Latasha, for having me. And in closing, I would just solicit the prayers of all of our brothers and our sisters, because as we know now, the work now really begins. Getting the building, that was just one of the objectives, but now the work begins.
Absolutely, you're so right about that. And we will keep those prayers going. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks again for being with us. And viewers, we'll be right back after this break. All right, everyone, that wraps up tonight's episode. We're so glad that you tuned in. And don't forget, every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m., we'll be right here for your viewing pleasures. We want to thank our guests, our three pastors who joined us, and the great things that they had to share. If you have something that you're doing personally during COVID that you think your AEC family should know about, please let me know, or your congregation as well. Email me at lhewitt@aecsda.com. Don't forget to check out that camp meeting survey on our website. Visit aec.org, and we'll see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. because the more you watch, the more you know. Take care. We'll see you next time.